The 1989 film Roadhouse is certainly a classic, and I have to say that if you haven't seen this one, then definitely check it out because while it's not a great film overall, it is still entertaining. The story of this film is basically James Dalton. He's a bouncer at a bar. But when another club owner shows up with a job from Missouri to help with his club, the Double Deuce, with the security, then James Dalton heads to that club in order to clean up the place and make it have a better image overall. Now, despite how cheesy this film is, especially with its one-liners, the fact it had gotten 6 Razzie nominations, and just how absurd some of the things that goes on within this movie, it is still appealing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because the legacy or a mere fact I heard about this movie from Family Guy of all TV shows. Or a mere fact they don't make movies like this anymore, and despite how cool this one seems, I felt like it could have been a little bit better in my opinion. Plus some of the biggest movies came out that year, so maybe this one got lost in the shuffle and didn't become as memorable until years later after its release. Nonetheless, when it comes down to it, I don't believe this is a horrible movie. Could it have been better? Absolutely. But at the same time, I'm not going to put it above some of the other. But at the same time, I'm not going to put it above other better movies that came out during that decade. The late Patrick Swayze actually did a great job playing James Dalton. He's this local bouncer in the beginning of the film, but then when Frank Tillman shows up and tells him, hey, I need your help at my bar in Missouri. It's rowdy, there's fights breaking out every night. Well, then he goes to that bar and he cleans up real well. He takes out the trash, he makes sure that people's not fighting anymore. And actually, now that I think about this film, it has surprised me. I didn't think it ended up being this good. The chemistry between Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott was great. Sam Elliott playing his friend, I thought that was real nice. Definitely, they had a strong friendship. And then there's the love interest, Dr. Elizabeth. Not much to this character, honestly. She didn't really impress me. I thought she was alright. I mean, she didn't have strong character development. And when James and Elizabeth falls in love with each other, I didn't believe it. I didn't actually think their relationship was, believable. Considering it kind of like came out of nowhere, but then that's like a lot of movies that came out during that time. And as far as the villain is concerned, Brad Wesley, not great. He's a pretty bad villain. Like, I wasn't impressed. He was just this businessman, bringing his henchmen to the bar. And then there's all these kind of fights, which I thought was pretty cool. Seeing the fights go down, definitely James, he's a badass. I had liked this character, especially when he had fought all the henchmen. But this movie surprisingly gets dark towards its climax. I won't spoil it, but man, it kind of came out of nowhere when I first saw this film. But overall, not much goes on in terms of making this a film that has a great plot. I mean, the plot could have been better, but at the same time, it's not a dumpster fire either. But at least this film does have its place in cinema history. I'm giving this film a 7 out of 10. Despite how interesting this one is, the lack of strong character development and a great plot overall would have helped this movie so much more. But at least this movie did enough to hold my attention and keep me from being bored. Now, I do know Roadhouse 2 had came out back in 2006, but I heard awful things about it. Number one, Patrick Swayze's not in it due to creative differences, and that story probably doesn't even connect to the story in this film. Overall, this movie has a lasting legacy that will still be talked about years from now. And that's my review of Roadhouse. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.